Welcome to a quick new video, and without much blah blah I will tell you what I'm doing in this video. I'm comparing the Xperia 1 Mark III on my left here against the Xperia 1 Mark IV on my right. What are the differences, and physically, software wise, and maybe also a little bit hardware wise. So let's get started. So as you can see here, I have both versions here, the black version of the Xperia 1 Mark III and the white version of the Xperia 1 Mark IV. And what can you see in terms of differences? Not much, but there's a difference. I can tell you immediately. Also, I did it in my first unboxing video of the 1 Mark IV. That I noticed is that when you take a look here at the edge of the corner here down to the back of the Xperia 1 Mark III, this is much softer, much rounder here, and feels much rounder on the 1 Mark III than on the 1 Mark IV, where this really has an edge here, and you can feel the edge, which is like a difference in feel if you have it in your hand. When it comes to the design itself, you can see it's practically the same. But you'll notice immediately, eventually, with the camera bump, that this one moved a little bit more to the left. And I just took a picture now. Great. Anyway, it moved a little bit to the left here, where this is a little bit more to the right. So they cramped in a little bit more here on the 1 Mark IV and changed the camera position. This is also one of the reasons why the case of the 1 Mark III does not completely fit the 1 Mark IV. So it can, from the dimensions here, it would fit, as you can see here. So it is fitting from the dimensions here on the sides, but you can see that the camera bump, it's not going to get all the way in here, because the camera bump here is a bit to the side and is sitting on the camera bump. So this is one of the reasons it is not going to work as you might expect it, because of the slight difference with the camera bump. When it comes to other differences, physical differences, they both have a quick fingerprint unlock and a reader here on the side. You can see the positions of the buttons change slightly. So let's go in here. See that when I have it like on the same level now, that we have the buttons a little bit higher, the volume up button on the 1 Mark III and the fingerprint reader, because they had to make room for a Google Assistant button, which is not here on the 1 Mark IV, so everything could move a little bit down, except the camera button, which is a little bit more down here on the 1 Mark III, and the 1 Mark IV has it a little bit up. And what you also notice eventually on the camera button, I'm not sure if I can show it to you, there we go, it is smaller. The camera button on the 1 Mark III is smaller than the one on the 1 Mark IV, so the 1 Mark IV has a bigger camera button. They have the same kind of texture, but it's just a bigger button. When it comes to the feeling when pressing, it's exactly the same. It's just like that this has a bigger button, so more surface area to reach there. That's the slight difference. Otherwise, the volume buttons have exact the same kind of clickiness, and the same goes for the fingerprint reader. Not much of a difference there that I saw. When it comes to other aspects, here at the bottom we can see the USB Type-C port. We can see the microphone is slightly off center, because we have now the SIM eject mechanism here. There's a SIM slot basically that holds the SIM and the micro SD card, which is on the side here on the 1 Mark III. And we have nothing here on the side of the 1 Mark IV. The headphone jack and the microphone, let me show it to you like this. So the microphone and the headphone jack almost exactly the same position, but you can see that the microphone jack slightly wandered off from the top heavy, or more leaning towards the display, to the middle of the casing. And the headphone jack, it's almost at the same position, maybe a little bit more out. And that's basically it from the physical aspects. When it comes to the display, we come to something very interesting. We have a brighter display on the 1 Mark IV. You can see, going to the brighter, no thanks, going to the brighter option here. Do I see much of a difference here in terms of display brightness? Yes, It is a bit dimmer here on the 1 Mark III already, and it's a bit brighter on the 1 Mark IV because we have the manual slider can now go also to the boosted sections which are locked out on the 1 Mark III. It will boost to the same brightness as we have here in the manual setting automatically if you have auto brightness set up. Otherwise, the lower settings the same. Do we have any issues with green tint or something like this that we had on some Xperias before? No issues with this. And you can see at the same position, roughly the same brightness, both devices. So there might be a slight change in terms of brightness on both of them here, which is something that you might see or not. Another thing that you might see here, especially in the menu, is that the left and right bezels on the 1 Mark IV are a tiny bit slimmer than on the 1 Mark III. Not sure if you can see it on the video, but it's really a little bit bigger here than here. Could be also because we have this white around, because it's like the white version around the edge, and it's not black as this one here, which makes the bezels look a little bit thicker. I'm not so sure about that. When it comes to software, we have also some differences here. We have both the Photo Pro app here, and you can see the Photo Pro app's buttons are slightly different because the periscope zoom cam on the 1 Mark IV here, the one here on the bottom, this one is a variable zoom periscope zoom cam, so it has really the option for optical zoom option. This is why both are connected here, where it's a different step basically from 2.9 to 4.4. And whenever you zoom into something, let me show it to you. So if I zoom out here, press the zoom out button, you can see it's switching and it's switching and it's switching and it's switching again here. But here it is not switching, he's just like simply zooming in physically. So here it's switching cameras. And we have a similar behavior here on the 1 Mark III. So let me go to this, it's switching, 2.9 it's switching, and 4.4 it's also switching. So there's the difference, you don't have this optical zoom, it's basically switching between two lens setups. Would be cool to see it zooming in, but it's not in here. We'll do a dedicated video about the differences of the Photo Pro and Video Pro app. Another Pro app that you will see here is the Music Pro app on the 1 Mark IV, which allows you to edit music and to record music with professional options for adjusting the music or sound quality. Then we have also a new application under streaming, which is Bravia Core, which allows you to watch new 4K HDR Sony movies, which is pretty cool, for free even, which is pretty cool because it then shows and displays the capabilities of the screen, the 4K HDR OLED screen. I'm not sure if it is possible to add this application also to the 1 Mark III. Technically it should work as well there. So these are the major software differences. Otherwise, both are running the brand new Android 12 version with all the bubbles and so on. As you can see here, getting bombarded by YouTube comments and Reddit comments and so on. Otherwise, both running the same kind of software. We have a difference here in terms of front-facing camera. So we have like 8 megapixels here, potato cam I would say, and 12 megapixels high-end, high-res, high-quality cam on the 1 Mark IV. There will be a camera comparison coming, but what I can tell you right now is that the 12 megapixel sensor is beating the 8 megapixel front-facing camera sensor, so there's no difference in terms of this. Battery is also pretty interesting. We have a difference in terms of battery. Battery life is a bit stronger on the 1 Mark IV with its 5000 milliampere hour battery in comparison to the 4500 milliampere hour that we get on the 1 Mark III. So battery life in general is a little bit higher on the 1 Mark IV than on the 1 Mark III, even though the 1 Mark III shows here 1 day and 8 hours left because there's no SIM card inserted right now. Usually I get through the day with the 1 Mark IV without any issues, and could even start another day here with the 1 Mark IV. On the 1 Mark III I have to be a little bit more conservative with the battery, so it could be that if I use it a little bit too much I can run out of power in 1 day. and so I have to look out for the battery to get it through the day, otherwise I have to charge it again. We have the same battery options here, like the battery care option and so on, so nothing changed there. In terms of display, something changed. Not only the brighter display, but also some options there. If I can find the display setting, I can show it to you. So image quality settings we have here, various different options here. We have the creator mode that I have currently. We have real-time HDR drive. Each frame of HDR content will be optimized for visibility according to your viewing environment, and you can turn this on, and this will then use the proximity sensor to optimize the HDR effect, which we don't have here. Then another thing that some people might want to look out for is sound. Do we see any differences in sound here? In audio settings, if you go there, you can see there are a bit more options here on the One Mark 4 though. So we have Dolby Sound that you can turn on and off. We have 360 reality audio, which I cannot turn on here, as you can see here, because it is called spatial audio here. It's a different thing, but I have to turn off, what do I have to turn off? The DSE Ultimate I have to turn off for turning this on. And here I can turn on either way, you can see, so it's not graying out, it's just turning the other one off. So this is a slight difference. We have also here effect priority, so when I'm using DSE Ultimate, I can choose applications, the effect you turned on, either 360 upmix or DSE. DSE takes priority over Dolby Sound for those applications, because this is something that happened here that we had as an issue eventually, where they were like, it was not clear always if it's Dolby Atmos that is using here the sound or not. When it comes to Dolby Sound, Dolby Atmos or Dolby Sound, how's it's called here, the same options as you can see here. We have advanced setting options that we can also tune if we want to. There's Dolby Sound, it's currently on dynamic. You can see it's a difference, a slight difference here. I can go into movie, music or custom, so I have here the options, and here I have them on top. Basically the same options, but just the menu looks a little bit better here on the One Mark 4. We will do a short sound test so you can hear how the difference in terms of sound is, and I will turn on Dolby Sound on both, and we will take a look at the difference between those. So I think it should be clear that both get pretty loud, but the One Mark 4 has the better bass, gets a slightly bit louder even than the One Mark 3, and overall the sound on the One Mark 4 is just simply amazing, even compared to the One Mark 3, which is already very good. So overall the sound here of the speakers on the One Mark 4 is a clear winner. When it comes to the headphone jack and listening to sound via the headphone jack, I tried various different IEMs and other headphones, and I could not notice much of a difference between those headphone jacks on both of them. And what we have here on the One Mark 3 is maybe slightly a little bit less oomph, a little bit power, and the One Mark 4 slightly a bit more power when it comes to driving those IEMs, for example, or headphones. So what I noticed is that On the same sound level, the 1 Mark IV sounds a little bit louder than the 1 Mark III, but it's very, very close together. So not much of a difference there, or improvements on the 1 Mark IV. If they are, they're very, very slightly only. Let's talk a little bit about performance of the 1 Mark IV against the 1 Mark III. On paper, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 is a little bit faster than the Snapdragon 888, but as it is tending to overheat a little bit more on the 1 Mark IV, we have to see. So let's open up KineMaster video project 1, 2, 3, and you can see basically the same opening times. When it comes to rendering times, this might be interesting. We will render this as full HD, 30 frames per second. So 1, 2, 3. And we can see they both fly through the file. And who is going to be quicker? It's the 1 Mark IV, but you can see how close they are when it comes to rendering times. So not much of a difference in terms of speed and performance in every day-to-day tasks that you might do with both phones. Another aspect that you should not underestimate between those both is the haptics, the vibration motor. So if I go in here and type something, what you will notice is we have a very strong but old kind of vibration motor, which is not very accurate on the 1 Mark III. And on the 1 Mark IV we have a new one, which is not only louder, you can hear it already. Like, let me get my microphone close. So the old one, the new one. I'm not sure if you could hear it so well, but the new one is definitely better than the old one. The old one is like weak, not very precise. This one is very, very strong and also very precise when it comes to haptics. It's not the best still, so on the market there exists still better, but at least this one is like for the price that you pay adequate, I would say, because this one is not anymore in 2022. So that's it, basically. The 1 Mark III against the 1 Mark IV, also both now in the official case, as you can see here. And yeah, which do you think is the clear winner? Yeah, the 1 Mark IV is an improvement over the 1 Mark III, though the 1 Mark III doesn't overheat so quickly as the 1 Mark IV. But yeah, overall I think the most interesting might be the camera. So just take a look at the dedicated camera review that I will do and comparison between the 1 Mark III against the 1 Mark IV, so you can see which one is the clear winner, what the differences here are in terms of camera. Otherwise, yeah, better battery life on the 1 Mark IV, better speaker, a slightly better headphone jack, better screen, just a slight improvement over the 1 Mark III. So what do you think about those both? Write it down in the comment section. Which do you think is the better one, the better deal for the money, and which one do you like best? That's everything for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Until the next time, bye.